than my physical body. Because I am more than physical matter, I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and to those who follow me. I deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal to or greater than my own. I ask their guidance and protection from any influence or any source that might provide me with less than my stated desires.
Do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. Do not claim to know the ultimate truth about fire. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of a family of explorers of consciousness. I'm the void one.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
Broadcasting live from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Main. I was about to say Main Creek, Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void live on the Fringe FM, KTLK Digital Broadcasting. Thank you guys for listening live. I really appreciate it here each and every night. I know there's tons of things that you could be doing. I love Tuesdays, though. But there's tons of things that you could be doing on this Tuesday night besides listening to Lighting the Void, so it's very much appreciated that you hang out with us. We're going to keep this ball rolling with conscious exploration in the Explorers Project. It's so fun to me. I just to hear people actually explore consciousness, but today I've had a few questions, but I want to make some announcements before we get into this. One, I'm going to just keep saying this. Be nice, right? Like, just be nice. I mean, we can play and joke with each other, but be nice. Try to be nice, you know. It's not hard. I don't know. I feel like we're all going to be saying that till we're like old and gray, right? Just be nice. But be nice if you can. If you can't, hey, I get that too. Sometimes you can't, but try to be nice. Secondly, I opened a Discord channel for the patrons. The Discord's open for everybody. There's a Lighting the Void Discord. I'll drop the link in the chat tonight. It's for everybody. But what I'm going to start doing, and Jane came up with this idea. Thanks, Jane. You're the best. By the way, what's up, Beezy? Dan? So after the show, I figure we could all talk, you know, because the supporters are the producers of the show. So I really like to get y'all's feedback. I don't get to hear from you guys that much, you know, and if I can talk to you guys after the show in the Discord, there's a voice channel, and it's for the patrons and the donors. It's called the After Show Chat. So make sure you join the Discord. And if you've ever supported the show, you don't have to be a patron. I mean, if you've ever supported the show and I didn't put you in there, just send me the email address that you sent your donation in, or the product you bought, or whatever, and I'll get you in there. It's no big deal. You know? because you guys are the producers of the show. That's the way I look at it. And so most of the stuff I do is based on what I want to do, but also the feedback that I get from you guys. So tonight I'll try it out for the first time. I don't imagine there'll be a whole lot of people in there, but we'll hang out after the show and you guys can give me your feedback, what you think. We can just kind of hang out and chat about this Explorer stuff. So far, we've been listening to it, and it's been a lot of people that have claimed to channel, contact ETs, things of that nature. We've listened to some of the resonance tuning, how they do it. But one of the things I wanted to really reiterate on, I know my friend Juan from the 101 podcast has just finished the Journeys Out of the Body book. And I think people get hung up on this idea that Monroe worked with the government and the CIA and all this stuff, and that's the conspiracy crowd. I get it. I mean, it's worth digging into. But I guess one of the things I really want to get people to understand is I don't know a lot about anything at all, but I know a little bit about this, okay? The relaxation process is vital. The two processes before you come out of body, the ability to relax is crucial. And what I've come to realize and understand is after doing, meditations, breathing exercises, all of the stuff that I was taught to, that I'm still being taught today, people's ability to relax, including my own, isn't what we think it is. A lot of times we think we're relaxed, and we're not fully relaxed. We're just less stressed than we were before. But to fully relax your body like a cat, like to be in the deepest relaxed state, is crucial, first and foremost. Second, the ability to visualize. So this is a big thing in both fields, right? So in magic and in the esoteric, when you go to the altar and the neophyte ritual, they start teaching you about this in the neophyte ritual. That's why you rub your hand over the candle, right? You taste the salt. You smell the rose. When you're going through each element, you pick the rose up, you smell it, you rub your hand over the candle and you feel it. You taste the bread, you drink the wine. And the idea and the importance of that ritual to show you how your senses work, right? Like how the ego works with the senses, so to speak. Well, that's trippy. I had that thing turned off and it just started playing on its own. But that's important too. But I think sometimes we skip steps. So we start visualizing before we're totally relaxed. So we have to get totally relaxed first. I mean, really relaxed. And then begin the visualization process to be able to see things, really clearly see them in our mind, to be able to touch them. Like you actually feel like you're touching it, smelling it, tasting it, that kind of thing, hearing it. So this is a big thing that I want some people to understand about, like even ceremonial magic, not just the out-of-body state. Like a lot of that the processes that you do in the beginning are to get you to understand the importance of this. Yeah, I mean, there's the circle and the pentagrams and stuff in magic. That stuff has its meanings, and it definitely does. But the rest of it, the processes of balanced breathing and relaxation, the ability to relax like you've never been able to relax before without falling asleep, right? But if you fall asleep, that's okay. And then, once you get to that state, then start the visualization. Amazing, amazing things happen. Truly amazing things happen. Now, this triggers out-of-body states, deep experiences, healings like you've never had before, massive synchronicities, all kinds of things, right? But I think most of us think, back to my first point, that we just, I know how to relax. It's a lifelong process for me. I don't know about you, but for me, it's a lifelong process, right? Like to get to that kind of relaxed state on a consistent basis, Meditation's key too. So these explorers that are doing this Explorers project, according to the literature in this project, most of these people have been doing this stuff for years. Like they've honed this down so they can get really relaxed, get really deeply into this visualization part of it, do the resonant tuning, all of that stuff, and just start having an experience. Last thing before we start the Explorers Project again tonight, someone asked me, I think it was Cosmic, right, that asked me, he said, can you get out of body without trying to lay down to go to sleep? Can you have an astral experience? Now, I think we should start here first and foremost. Like, astral travel is in my opinion, is the ability to use the imagination at that level, the ability to relax, but also use the imagination at that level to where you're so good at it. You're so good at the imaginative powers and visualization that you're actually there. That's considered astral traveling to a lot of people. And it is. It's all a part of consciousness. But the etheric out-of-body state, you know, when you peel yourself out of body, when you watch yourself sleep, when you float above your bed, or when you're around this area, you know, on the earth, that is still considered astral travel to some. But Robert Monroe made it a point to call it, and I think he was one of the first that did it, the out-of-body experience state, because it was different. So it was kind of separate from just the visualization stuff. If anybody tells you that they're an expert at this, there's probably hardly anybody, I would say, except for Thomas Campbell, Buellman, Robert Bruce, maybe a few other people, that are even close to being able to call themselves experts in this field, because this world is so vast. That's why there's so many questions about it. But once you start going down the road and doing this stuff, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll experience these things. I know some of you practice ceremonial magic. If you do it long enough, this is why things begin to happen in your life, which is a whole other topic we could talk about, separate from just being able to do it. But things happen in your life because of your ability to focus these rituals. So with the out-of-body stuff, it's all about relaxing, the resonant tuning, that visualization process, and then launching and just exploring. With the magical process, it's all the same thing: relaxation, meditation, focused, right? Visualization, but then taking your knowledge of symbols and the unconscious and directing what they call magical energy to certain places, certain things, or during certain times or cycles of the cosmos or whatever. I think they both run together. But at this one that we're going to listen to tonight isn't magic, but I thought later in this week we could do the same thing. We could kind of listen to some live magic rituals and compare the two. But this is still the Explorers Project tonight. And this is 1984, May the 30th of 1984. Altered body awareness and visual hallucinations, the out-of-body experience and consciousness expansion, chakras, breath and inner visions, astral projection, mythology, and personal experiences, and witnessing and perception. And just watch how fast these people go to this altered state of consciousness. It's pretty impressive how fast they do it, actually.
The tuning and
just the energy conversion box.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's going to be the overlapping voices for the resonant tuning or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you are accustomed to doing it out loud, go ahead and do it out loud.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might start.
We're just taking ourselves and counting yourself into the state of body asleep and mind fully awake.
10-4.
Yeah, so he's getting in the state of he's relaxing himself. He might take himself through resonant tuning here in a minute. And there's no experts in this. You are just as big of an expert as anybody is at this. Jane says, don't you have a guided meditation on your store, Joe? Yeah, I have a bunch of those where I do this. I guide you through a lot of this stuff in the Patreon shop. Studi says, I don't believe you need to fall asleep. Yeah, well, if you fall asleep, the most you're going to get is a lucid dream, right? If you actually fall all the way asleep, you can go to the etheric out-of-body state from the lucid dream. You can. I haven't been able to do that, but some people can. But the idea is to get out of body before you fall asleep, wherever you're laying down or sitting down. In the hypnagogic state, that twilight state. I don't know if I've ever clarified that. Have I clarified that? Yeah, I don't want people thinking first you have to fall asleep, then peel yourself out of body. No. You do it before your mind falls asleep.
There's been a qualitative shift in my body awareness, which resembles, from what I can relate, to Focus 10.
Did you say you think you are in Focus 10 now? Huh? Is that correct?
I wouldn't, if somebody were to say that, I wouldn't argue the point.
All right, we'll just stay with it there for a while.
All right.
Get the experience of it.
I got a vision in my head as a big cabbage plant.
Right.
Back to the Mediterranean architecture. High arched pillars is what it is. White marble.
Well, is this something you're seeing in fairly clear detail?
I can see the arches in pretty good detail. I can see there's designs, very intricate designs in it. But I can't make it out to the extent where I can see the entire structures. I'm on the inside of the structure, looking outward. It's a sunny day. Nobody lives there. It's as if it were ruins, well-preserved ruins.
Well, that sounds like a good place. You check it out a little more and see what it is.
All right. Going down the steps. As I'm going down the steps, I was transported to Italy, the Colosseum in Italy. The previous architecture seemed to be Greek. It's as if I'm hovering above the Colosseum in Rome, I would say.
So here's the question. Is he just remote viewing? Like, is this active imagination like Carl Jung talks about, where he's just fallen into every vision that comes into his mind? Or is he actually aware that he's out of body? Did he peel himself out of body and kind of, bilocate to Italy? I don't think he clarifies this.
Mm-hmm. You're looking at it from above.
Yes. 100 to 200 feet above. At a slight angle away from it. It's daylight there too, so that in the vision it's daylight, so that doesn't particularly jive with a one-on-one correspondence with present Earth time. Well, I don't know. Let's see. That'd be 6-7 hours difference. And it'd be getting dusk anyway out there, or dark. And I just flew up to the Thames in England by the Parliament.
Oh, don't do the lip smacking thing, please.
You're moving around fairly fast. Are you aware of physical space and objects, or also include life forms of any kind?
I have a sense of life forms. I haven't seen any. I'm mainly seeing buildings. I enjoy architecture. There's also someone very close to me who's an architect, so... Okay, I've got a sense of coming back across the Atlantic. Back here, folks. And now I'm right back in the old body.
Well, would you like to try going further out or deeper in, trying for a deeper focus 12?
Sure.
Get your consciousness expanded a bit, maybe get away from this Earth atmosphere if you want to.
Okay, as you said that, I had a vision of being on the outer layers of the Earth's atmosphere. There is a qualitative change of body feeling is lighter, a more refined vibration, if you will, higher frequency. I feel like I'm floating above the planet, outside of the atmosphere.
Well, you're doing a good job of reporting there, and any changes that occur, we'll share them with us.
Okay. There seems to be a quickening of activity in my left calf. I've heard tales that the calves were very good antennae.
That the calves were what?
Good antennae, good receptors.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've never heard that before. Have you guys heard that before?
My legs as a whole, there's a qualitative difference there in that there seems to be another body layered on top of them, resting on them, as if they're two in one. My entire physical being is lighter. As if I went in there, okay, now my arms are catching up with my legs. It's as if I were changing frequency to a higher frequency, but yet there is a softness where it wouldn't be there's a mellowness of the frequency, whereas I might think a changing in higher frequency might lead to somewhat of a discordance. It's not the case.
So this is a good question from Jane. How can someone be out of body and talking at the same time? Well, you heard him say that he got to Focus 10, and Focus 10 for the Monroe Institute is it's kind of confusing. because I have the same questions that you guys have. So focus 10 is the physical body is deeply relaxed while the mind remains conscious, awake, and alert. Mind awake, body asleep. Usually people feel the vibratory state around this time, you know. Then they get to 11, and then they try to work their way all the way to 21. I have no idea. Like, that's a good question. That's why I'm listening to this stuff. I'm trying to figure this out too, because every time I've done this, I've relaxed, I've gotten to a vibratory state. I've either projected myself out of my body, but most of the time just peeled myself out of the body. But there's no way, unless my body's talking, there's no way I could see myself speaking unless I'm in a conscious state of like remote viewing. And from my understanding, this is a little bit chaotic when you listen to this stuff, right? But from my understanding, these people are supposed to be super advanced at this out-of-body stuff where they can just do this. But then when you listen to Thomas Campbell get out of body, he doesn't talk when he's out of body. He does what I do. Like, he leaves his body, speaks to these things, goes somewhere, comes back, and then reports everything. And the way you know, here's a clue too, the way you know that you're not remote viewing and you're not dreaming is, one, if you're out of body and you're in the physical world and everything seems super real, more real than it does right now as I'm speaking to you. And two, your recall is at 100%. It's not like a dream or a lucid dream. You won't lose details. You won't forget things. It won't be like that. It'll just be like regular awareness. You're just not in the body. So my conclusion to this is that he's simply just kind of remote viewing. But then again, I don't know this guy. I don't know how advanced he is. So
I'm back out in space visually. In the preparatory stages audio, I heard that I had grown accustomed to the sequence. And then as I'm back in space, it's really when I say hearing, it's in a telepathic form. It's as such, it's not audio in the sense that I'm hearing the signals. It relates back to a journey of some kind again. I think I'm going to try to go inside now and see what happens.
All right, very good.
I'm very aware of my heart. It seems to be pretty healthy. I'm going through my digestive tract now. Okay. I came out of my anus and I came back up on the outside of my back. And I'm like resting on the top of my head right now. And that's okay. I'm getting a picture of the traditional lotus flower corresponding with the seventh chakra, such as found in Kundalini Yoga, for example.
I'm pretty aware of astral dynamics too, Sudi. I've read it. I've had Robert Bruce on the show. We've had personal discussions with each other. I'm not talking about being aware, right? There's no drop of awareness when you peel yourself out of body. There's no drop of awareness. But to be able to talk while you're out of body is, all I'm saying is something that I'm not capable of doing myself, nor is Thomas Campbell. And I think if you go back and listen to our conversation that I actually had with Robert Bruce, it'll probably reveal a lot of what I'm saying right now. Being able to recall a dream or a lucid dream or whatever is different, or your imagination. It's a different thing. Yes, we all leave our body when we sleep. Sometimes we forget it. But It is about remembering, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being able to speak while you're out of the body, through your body, like that.
There is a puff. It's almost as if it were a cotton ball, but yet it has more substance in the middle of the lotus flower. And I seem to be getting a sense that that is the area of
The lip smack.
where the petals of the lotus are more like receptors, where this puff inside is the assessor, receptor, principal principal area of perception in terms of the seventh chakra. Okay, now I'm going back down straight into the brain. Now I'm stopping in the sixth chakra area. And what I have that is 4 phalanges opening from my forehead. And as if there is a pistil stamen as related to the biological structure of a flower in the center of that. Okay, I'm coming down outside over my nose. Alright, breath, I'm going in through my nasal cavities. Something to do with breath here, the importance of it and its connection with the environment. Prana, picking up another Hindu term here.
I got to be honest with you. This sounds like an active imagination to me. This sounds more like the Carl Jung method of active imagination. It's all a certain level of consciousness, but that's what it seems like to me. Still very valid, though. I mean, if you want to get into that whole philosophical discussion.
Life force. Okay. I've gone back through my sinuses down to my spine. I went just below the 5th chakra, but I'm coming back up and out of it. And I pick up a vision of a rather unusual flower at the base of my throat, where the indentation is, where the physical indentation is. The petals are somewhat purple, whereas there is a flash of purple lavender light in the 6th chakra. Here it's a very intense light blue light, and yet the petals of this very strange, very small, petite, but very sturdy flower are purple. The petals of it are. I'm going back into the spine. The heart, no. I'm picking up a discordance, so I can't make up my mind whether to go to the 3rd or the 4th chakra. I think I'm going to go to the 3rd. Yellow light. Blinding yellow light. Brilliance. It represents the intelligence of mankind. I'm going back up to the 4th. It's almost, there was a force coming out and then it was turned back under, almost as a pulse goes out and then it comes back under. Pictorially, I have a large hibiscus. It strikes me as rather odd. Okay, now I'm going back to the base of my spine. Very primal. Red. I'm shooting up to the 2nd. Orange is the color. I'm coming out of the 2nd. It relates for me at any rate, to astral projection or out-of-the-body experience. I'm going back into the red, the primal, flashes of color. I had a similar experience of this in Gateway when I was exploring red with the flashes of color, and there it related again to the primal essence.
He's not wrong about that, though. So the Gateway program has, if you study it and you get into the pamphlets more and go through the program, once you learn to get to a certain state, then you start projecting or visualizing color moving through your body, right? And I forget all the different colors, but red is definitely like the primal color for some people. So this sounds to me like his ability to move energy throughout his body, but also use active imagination at the same time. He may be super advanced. Like, we don't know, right? We just don't know because we don't know this guy. But I will say this. If you think active imagination is not as good or whatever as the out-of-body experience, it's just different. It's a very, very effective method of, I don't know, like, how would you put it? Like, if you just go on an adventure. So your ability to direct your focus, to direct wherever you're going to go with your will, kind of like Edgar Cayce did when he went into people's bodies and healed them. But also your ability to tap into the energy of surrender. So on some level, he's willing himself to go to all these different places, but he's also really good at surrendering to this higher force or whatever. And that's what active imagination is. Eventually, you begin to surrender to the visions that you start to see. And notice when he started this, I'm not saying this is exactly what's happened, it's just a theory. But notice when he started this, he said, "I see a cabbage." Like his brain just started spitting out stuff. And instead of fighting it, he just laughed at it. And he just kept going and kept going. I think Gordon White has a program in his courses too called Journeying or something like that. It all has to do with active imagination. So I think what we're possibly hearing here, he's going through the Monroe steps, all of them, even the colors and the energy and stuff. But he's also allowing for the higher self to give him visuals. He's just surrendering to them. It's pretty cool, actually.
It also relates to survival. Now that seems to be traditional from what I've read in Hindu literature.
Yeah, and what do we know the red color to be? The red color is also severity, the primitive world, survival, action, anger, that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm coming back up. It's as if this energy are coming up, and it's flowing out from my spine, through my shoulders, into my arms, out through my fingers. I'm curious as if you're getting anything unusual on the readings. You can tell me later if you care to. The energy there is remaining flowing, but yet it's static. The energy is also coming up through my spine into my brain, into my head, coming out of my ears. It's just flowing. It's quite interesting. That it's stemming from the base of my spine, and I'm feeling somewhat of a tingling sensation down there now. And it is just coming up and out in a flowing sensation. It seems as for my legs, I can make it either go outward from the base of my spine or have it come up from the soles of my feet for a unified energy flow. Unified in the sense of my entire physical being. And it seems where it's optional whether I choose to have it come up from the soles of my feet and flow continuously up and out, unidirectional, or whether I take it from the base of my spine and project it in two ways. When I do it two ways, there I seem to have a uncanny sense of balance. When I do it up from the soles of my feet, I seem to lose the sense of balance, but I gain a sense of wonder and a sense of exploration. Okay, now there's a sense of depression, not in a negative sense, but in terms of pressure, in terms of a flow of energy in the area of my genitals. My forearms are tingling. I'm back at the Greek architecture. I have a connection with Zeus there, but it also strikes me as being there for a fascination of mythology. Not in terms of stories, but in terms of the process of mythology, how each age conjures a mythology to resonate
Team America
with the inner aspects of ourselves, but how they're utterly fallacious at one level, and yet at the same time they're like a big gong resonating with our innermost being. Okay, I'm back in England now, in London, at the Parliament.
It's crazy.
It seems as if I'm there from a fascination from political structures. I did take some political science in school. And also I'm reading Shirley MacLaine's Out on a Limb right now, and she talks about one of her friends, lovers, as a member of Parliament. So there could be that connection there too. Ooh, I'm back in colonial America.
God.
With the Indians and with the Pilgrims. It's as if they're celebrating Thanksgiving, which is probably my favorite holiday.
The lip smacking is driving me absolutely nuts. I'm sorry. I almost want to apologize for him.
Are you there like as an observer, or can you be as a participant in any way?
I was just trying to figure that out myself. I'm drawn to one particular Indian who has two feathers attached to the back of his head. I can't say that I'm there as a participant in terms of reincarnational theory. It is more like I'm there as a spirit. I'm getting a lot of chills now, is because as if I think that particular holiday embodies the finest attributes of man, ordinary man at any rate. Whereas I can relate to that more so, say, even than Christmas, because it seems to have become a matter of hocus pocus. Whereas again, Thanksgiving seems to embody the best that mankind can offer one another's. And I particularly, now that I'm there, and this is a new thought, I like the mixture of races that are there, that they're getting along, that it just seems to be just such a waste not to behave in that manner.
Well, are you experiencing perceptions at this point?
Yeah, I'm seeing Indians bare, except say for maybe loincloths, very, not really tanned, but a natural brownness of their skin. And then I've seen pilgrims in what we'd think of as a traditional dress, the black with the white collars and the hats and whatnot. I see them talking with, and I have a sense of their enjoying one another's company. It's a very nice feeling inside, you know. It connects me with mankind as a whole in a very the essence of a positive sense, I would say.
That's a good question, Cosmic. I don't know. You said he got chills from it earlier.
Okay, now I've just settled back into the tones. Some geometric forms resembling the carpenter's rules, angles. Here comes the sun coming from our right. Well, it's an odd sort of sun. It's like there's light there, but it's not beaming light. It's circular.
Can you approach it?
That's a thought. As I approach, there's kind of like udders off to the left side of it, or as if you were to blow up a surgeon's glove and the fingers would be projecting. As I go inside, there is neither a sense of warmth nor coldness. Oh, it's very analytical. In terms of assessing knowledge, in terms of assessing anything for that matter, it would be the essence of, I think it was Robert Heinlein's Stranger from a Strange Land, where they developed the capacity of the proper witness, something like that, to whether you see before you what's exactly there without trying to imbue it with anything else. It seems to be the essence of that perception. It would be also what I would consider Arthur Diekman wrote about in what he called de-automatization. It's found in one of the chapters of Altered States of Consciousness, edited by Charles Tart. It would also be what Don Juan in Carlos Castaneda's books refers to as not doing. And it would also be what Robert Ornstein, and I think it's the Psychology of Consciousness, refers to as non-patterning. The perfect witness, that's what it is, the perfect witness.
And that's the feeling you're having now about yourself?
Well, I wouldn't say that. To me, that would seem somewhat presumptuous. I would say this light that I saw would be the essence of all of that. Would be the perfect witness, the essence of what is involved in being the perfect witness. If some of that rubs off on me, I think it was all for the better, but it doesn't necessarily have any connection with me per se. Okay, now I'm feeling a flowing, almost as if I were drunk. It's in waves coming from the top of my head to my feet, It's as if I lost a sense of balance, but yet I know I haven't. It's interesting. It's neither pleasurable nor unpleasurable. I went back to
On June 6th, the subject is BEF, second session.
I guess that's it for that one, right? So, I don't know. I'm curious as to what you guys think about that. To me, it sounds like a lot of active imagination, but then when he got into the color stuff, it sounded more like he was doing a lot of focus level stuff. What's up, Jen, Ava? Y'all make sure you join the Discord for the after show chats for all of the supporters and stuff. I'm trying to get the invite now, but just let me know what you guys think about that, or we could talk about it after the show in the Discord or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, to be able to get out of body the way that I did is like, I just don't see how you could talk like that. But maybe everybody has their own methods. Again, no matter what these focus levels are, for instance, I think when we get back, I'll talk a little bit. We should talk about these focus levels that the Monroe Institute does, because I don't want to misspeak about them. Because you have each person is unique, right? So even like when people get to the vibratory state, not everybody feels a vibration. Some people feel warmth in their body. Sometimes it's warmth. Sometimes it's loud noises. Sometimes people hear laughter. Some other people get paralyzed and scared. So, like, it's different for everybody, but this guy may be super advanced. It just seems like it was more, because I don't know if you've ever scryed, like with tarot cards or tatua cards, which is something we're getting into as well. But that's what it sounds like he's doing. Like he's given into the vision and just speaking about everything that he sees, which you could call that astral travel. Sure. But an etheric OBE, I don't know. Maybe their consciousness goes past that. Maybe they don't even worry about the etheric state. It's all fascinating stuff to me. Again, I can only relate like what I've been through here. Short break here for the radio station here at the Fringe FM. Make sure you guys show your support if you join the Discord server. Keep in mind, all you've had to do is purchase anything or donate ever, or whatever. Like, as long as you have, you can join that server. You can join that server anyways, but the after show chats will be for all of the producers, supporters, and stuff, and we will chat afterwards. I'll keep dropping the link into the chat so you guys can join it. It's free to join. The actual server's free for everybody, though. We'll be right back.
In your face, all over the place.
We're online 24/7. 24/7.
You're listening to the hottest internet station.
I'm
54, so basically, it's too late to start saving for retirement, right?
Not right. Starting to save, even in your 50s, can really make a difference.
Well, right now, saving seems hard to wrap my head around. Plus, with the way this year's been going...
Hey, listen, it's okay. You still got this. Just go to aceyourretirement.org. It's an online tool from AARP that can help you get your retirement savings on track no matter your age. It's free and only takes about 3 minutes.
I like 3 minutes.
Yeah, at aceyourretirement.org, you'll chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer a few questions and you'll get a personalized plan and tips to help boost your retirement savings. Tips that are easy to understand and tailored to your lifestyle.
I like that too.
Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back. Just head to aceyourretirement.org and make your plan to start saving for retirement.
Thanks.
That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Have you ever wondered, what do the stars say for me? Or, will the next month or the next year be more favorable? How about, are our two signs compatible? Each month, at the new moon, you can ask these questions live with me, your astrologer psychic, Mary DeCina, along with host of Lighting the Void, Joe Root. Join us at the new moon for Cosmic Conditions. We look forward to working with your energy.
Every new moon at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fringe FM.
This is Barbara Charlton from Metaphorical Archaeology. If you've ever had a traumatic paranormal experience, the effects of it may stay with you for years. Who do you talk to? You can't go to conventional help. What we do is we use emotional freedom techniques or tapping to actually neutralize the effects of that event. Maybe when you tell the story now, your heart races and your palms get sweaty. You don't even want to think about it because you don't know how to neutralize that. That's what EFT tapping does. It neutralizes those emotions. The circuit that was recorded on is gone. The energy flows freely and you're free of it. And that's what emotional freedom is all about. We offer this as a pro bono service, but this is something that I offer because no one, it seems, is helping people with these experiences. If you'd like to reach me, it's really easy. My cell phone is 214-995-3754. Please leave a message. I will get back to you as quickly as possible. Or you can email me, barb.eft@gmail.com. And EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. Reach out to me. It's confidential. This works. You won't believe the results.
I'm Clyde Lewis. You're listening to The Fringe FM.
Hi, this is Carlos from Belgium, and you're listening to Lighting the Void with Joe Rube.
All right, welcome back to Lighting the Void Radio here live on Fringe FM. For everybody that's listening live on YouTube, thank you for coming out. Also live on Fringe.fm, the radio station at www.fringefm. Big shout out to Henry for sending out a donation today. Throwing out the 15. Thanks, brother, for the donation. Again, I'll be dropping the Discord links for everybody there for... we have a Telegram and a Discord. I think the Discord has like more fun stuff that we could do, and it's super easy for us all to just hang out in a voice chat there. So If you've ever supported, produced, bought a product, cards, whatever, even if you've like reviewed the show, just send me an email or whatever. Show me where you supported that. Most of you I remember, but people that have supported a while back and I don't remember your emails, you'll have to send it to me in the Discord. So just what I mean to say is jump in the Discord and then send me a DM in the Discord and I'll get you into the after show discussions and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying not to overcomplicate things. So this guy that is doing this at the Explorers at Monroe Institute, they just call him BEF, but I wanted to play this thing from Robert Monroe as he talks about the different levels of consciousness here. I think this clip is going to explain it. Hopefully it does, because if it doesn't, then I'm going to have to explain it.
We have also another thing that's come up that deserves broad scientific treatment, and that is, we call it phasing. That this mind consciousness that we have is in full phase. Let's say, hopefully, as I sit and talk to you here, that all of my consciousness is involved in doing this. If you are daydreaming or you're, quote, absent-minded, a part of your consciousness is not here, a very significant part of it. And so if you think of those being phases, that 90% of your mind consciousness is here at this moment, and there's a flicker, and a part of you is phased out of this. And if you take it deeper, then you can see what all of this whole program process means. It means that you're becoming more and more out of phase, that a greater percentile of you is active in some other state. Meditative states are a form of phasing. So let's say that 25% or more of your phase pattern of what is phased out of the physical is involved in something else. And as a result, you learn more about your own personal creative process that's been just an absurd thing to you in the past, and then it becomes absurdly easy.
That's pretty cool, right? So focus one is the normal everyday waking consciousness that's completely in phase with physical matter reality, also referred to as C1 consciousness. And then he takes people to what's called focus 10, which is the physical body is deeply relaxed while the mind remains conscious, awake, and alert. That's why you'll hear him say sometimes when he's talking to the explorers, like, mind awake, body asleep. And this is the first state of consciousness explored in their gateway program. And as they move up to these different phases, so he calls like 11 the access channel, which is ultimate communication channel to all levels of awareness, mental, physical, and emotional. 12 is a state of expanded awareness while the body remains deeply relaxed and asleep. So, and it goes all the way to like 21. And when it gets to 21, they say you're on the very edge of perception of time and space. Your mind remains fully conscious and active. The bridge, you get a bridge to other realities. So the out-of-body experience that I'm talking about, like the etheric projection out of body, I rave and rant about this, right? I do, because I think it's cool that you can be a ghost in the physical world. But to these people that have been doing this forever, it's boring to them. I mean, I've even heard Monroe say it gets boring after a while. Like, you're just going around in the physical world. You've seen the physical world. You know what it's about. So I'm kind of looking forward to that myself, to where I get to that place where I'm just bored with being a ghost, right? And then I want to go somewhere else and do some other things. So cool. I see some of you guys have joined the Discord. Again, if you've supported, just DM me in there and I'll get you into the after show chat and change your role. So, but if not, just hang out in there. We'll do some other stuff in there too. Discord servers are fun. Let's see, what's next on this guy's thing here? Extraterrestrial energy systems. This guy moves pretty fast, so I wonder what he's going to say about this. B, isn't it? It's BEF.
It's comfortable now.
Well, but I'm talking about after the sound starts. Input comes in.
I can't hear Monroe.
If you want it louder or softer, just tell me.
Okie doke.
I guess he's going into
Part of the body. My body does feel deadened, though. I'm hovering around there at any rate.
How's he talking and doing that?
Do you want me to stay in 10? I feel like going to 12.
You can go right on to 12 if you want to. The main thing is to check back with me when you feel you're there. Why don't you just go ahead into 12? And,
I can't hear it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was just going to say I feel like going to 15 right now.
Alright, go all the way to 15 if you do that.
Alright. Alright, give me a minute. Okay, I've got a big rush of energy going through my body now, coursing up through my legs, going up through my body. I feel like I would like to deal with energy systems. I'm experiencing another rush of energy, as if that's a positive response. I think I'd like you to set the tone for this, Martin, in terms of asking questions to direct me. Anytime you feel like it. No, I think that's why I feel like turning it over to you.
Damn, I wish I could hear Robert, what he was saying.
Tell me what your perceptions are showing you in any auditory or visual or aesthetic way.
Sure. I'm feeling a little bit impatient with you right now. It's like, it's as if I told you where I want to go and you're not responding. Take that with a kind heart, please. All right, I feel as if I wanted to deal with energy systems as a subject. I feel as if I'm in a swirling pattern of energy that has no particular focus.
Did y'all see that? The power just almost went out. Like right when that dude was talking about energy, everything just died. That's weird. Brown out.
At the same time, I feel as if I want you to give me that direction in terms of a question. Do you follow me?
I follow you. But we have to rely on you when you get into, when your consciousness is expanded out and physical substance reality, you're unaware of the body.
This is going to help me get there, I think.
Yeah. And let your mind continue to expand out beyond this planet into solar systems, beyond those and beyond the concept of time. Keep counting yourself on out, expanding farther out, farther out, farther out.
Can you think of a specific question you want to ask about a particular system or about it in general? I need a focus right now, an intellectual focus to boost this energy here. Because I'm coming back and forth rapidly.
That sounds to me like your question is be? What sort of energy are you geared to being in touch with? Do you want an intelligent energy?
I think intelligence resides throughout, but in different forms.
Well, what we'll try here is for you to stay relaxed and focused on wherever you are. And I'm going to feed in another little overlay of sound, and we'll see what this does.
Boy, he's being kind of direct with Robert Monroe, right? Not in a bad way.
Of social structure. But they have a keen sense that they are one unit. And it's within just one range of perception that they are diversified.
Yeah, you can't hear
or that
what
they're
Robert's
individuals.
saying.
The same laws apply to us. There is a sense that they're saying one of my favorite phrases, a range of perception, which Don Juan refers to as a fixation of perception, is valid. For them, range of perception has more meaning than fixation of perception. Although again, they're both metaphors for a process, slant interpretation of perception. Just as they are us and we are them. I feel my body at times getting tense here, but alright, it's okay now.
Just let them know that we're seeking their help and cooperation to see if we can determine if communication is possible in the way that we're attempting it.
It's their ball game. Communication is possible. Due to the structure of awareness, in our terms, it's up to them. For example, I can seek that connection, but due to their orientation, they grant the audience. And in a sense, that's a misnomer because there's a free exchange of intelligence, if you will. And this goes back to the old cliche of if the person's ready for it or not, or on a wider scale if society's ready for it or not. I have the sense that there are political advisors to the leaders of nations that are aware of the phenomenon, whether they put it in quote spiritual terms or not. They are aware of the physical reality of this intelligence upon Earth. I get the sense that President Reagan, for example, listens to one advisor in particular, but it is so far out for him.
President, it's in the 80s.
It's
I was thinking,
like
what's he talking about?
Comic book.
President Reagan. This is straight out of the 80s, though. I forgot.
I get the sense that it would be unwise for President Reagan to be elected to a second term from the perspective of leadership of the masses, because from this energy's perspective, there is insufficient direction, leadership, and this leadership should optimally come from a variety of sources, including political leadership, whereas before it has been science fiction, some religious leaders, avant-garde intellectualists. Okay, enough on this area. They want me to speak more from the top of my head. Or I think a more correct response to that would be the energy I'm engaging right now Okay, back up. For practical purposes, the model of speaking with extraterrestrial forms, which are equivalent to, quote, higher energy systems, is functional.
So trippy.
This is your relationship at this point to these people, generalized, or does it have a focal point?
Jen, what's up, Jen?
It seems to be shifting. The focal point before was in terms of acquaintance, as if one were to open up a sociology book. It's shifting now to where I'm just in a state of blackness, feeling absolutely no orientation whatsoever. Do you have any questions about this energy system?
What is their relationship to?
So, Mike, in the chat, can you, I was a kid in the 80s. Was he spot on about the Reagan thing? Did he reveal something that actually happened? Because I saw that you said, what did you say about what he saw? The Reagan note was real in real life. Like, what did you mean by that? He did have one close associate with UFO XYZ info. Yeah, if you can clarify, or you can even call in. Anybody can call in to 501-777-5631. Let me know what you meant by that.
To us, to this planet.
Can you be more specific?
I can't be more specific because the question is, what relationship is the information source?
All right, the first relationship, the fundamental relationship, is that it's all one. They are here.
There.
It is a exercise in perception, which leads us to think that they are in a distant galaxy.
What we're seeking then is closer contact with more comprehensible information we can understand.
Okay, you're talking knowledge. All right. Okay, give me a moment here.
You feel a little like impatience between Robert Monroe and the
From a three-dimensional slant physical perspective, we will perceive them as aliens who in some sectors will gradually make their presence known in physical reality. Shirley MacLaine His most recent book is A Wedge. I get a vision of a tree, the limb of a tree. Okay, they're referring to out on a limb. If we objectify this energy and leave it solely in the terms of alien beings, we've missed the point.
Well, take the question about what we're doing here in our efforts in the laboratory.
All right, this is a definite link.
So that aliens are telling him like they're not aliens, but that's what we call them or something like that. That's pretty trippy. Hillary has one. She went to her birthday bash on video. Are you talking about the book that she was carrying? Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you mean? Reagan had his own astrologer. Pretty interesting stuff. So the aliens are telling him like, we're not really aliens. That's what you guys call us.
Okay. This is one source of contact, one source of a bleed through, if you will, to where there is a full-fledged, bona fide connection with that energy operating through the physical. At this juncture, I get a vision to where the energy is, quote, out there. It channels through the physical body, and then it flows back outward. Okay, now here we're coming to the null point. When that information flows through the physical body, it can be channeled. Channel A is the physical body. This goes back to where if that channel is as fluid and as unbiased as is possible, given the restraints of perception, flooding into the physical. Again, we're talking about cognitive, emotional, physical overlays here. If that can be biased, value-free, as is humanly possible, because humans have particular constraints. And since the physical body is the channel at its rudimentary level, there are therefore constraints, particular biases of perception. Okay, that's channel A. Now, when you get, as that energy passes through channel A, it is open to an infinite. It comes from infinity through the channel A back out into infinity. The practical application is in the opening back to infinity. However, for application at its, quote, most rudimentary level, unquote, which is the physical dimension, in terms of grounding it in our frame of reference.
That kind of makes sense, right? Yeah.
One of the most important things this institute has come up with in terms of applicability is the null point. All right, Joe has a sense of the null point. Monroe has, Bob has a pretty good handle on it. Okay, back to applicable. Wait, no. Oh, wait, give me a moment, please. Bob represents a loop. Okay, back to the Institute. It represents a legitimate channel for expression in the physical. Okay, now here an analogy is drawn. This information is all coming in gestalts, and so in one sense it's difficult to keep up with it. In the sense that the physical body, the subject in the Explorer sessions, is channel A. The Institute is channel A. We're working on a different level now. Okay, let's make it, we can either go from, we can take this from, okay, let me calm down a second here. We can either go from the direction of saying there are infinite number of channel Bs, or we can say it's B, C, D, E, F, B1, B2, B3, B4, C1, C2, etc., etc. I think for functional purposes, B1, B2, B3, C1, C sub 2, C sub 3, D sub 1, D sub 2, D sub 3, etc., is the most functional, because then B will pertain to categories. C will be a category. For example, B will be biology, C will be physics, D will be social structures, etc. Do you get my point? Okay, I can't hear you that well, but I think you just said I'm doing fine. Okay. Okay, let's bring it back to the physical body, any particular explorer being channel A. The information goes through. It comes out to infinity again. This is working on the assumption that we have a quote pure unquote channel. But since we've already gone over the information about the distortion, we'll drop it and go on and go at it from the model, underlying model.
I wonder.
The model.
Think about it. Think about if this is the whole reason why aliens they don't show themselves to us, because we think they're like these simple, big-eyed beings or whatever, and they're really like multi-dimensional beings, and they move through consciousness. It's impossible to explain it to the human mind. Why this sounds like this.
Goes through channel A, opens up again, as the metaphor would be coming to a narrow section of a river, where the river, again, is, say if it were 100 yards wide, it comes down to a 5-yard width, it opens up again to a 100-yard width. The 100 yards represents infinity, comes through channel A to 5-yard width, opens back up to infinity. However, now that we get into applicability, we go to the null point. The null point is the center. It doesn't have anything to do with the explorer, other than the explorer has the option of centering oneself at the null point and directing that energy to whichever category one wishes to explore, hence B, C, D, E, etc. In categories, one again has the option of going back to the null point and going to B sub 1, B sub 2, B sub 3, etc. Okay, give me a second. I'm starting to get too much ego in here. I want to drop back for a second. Do you have any questions?
Well, yes, there's a question if we were in Channel B biology, for example. A question that's concerned us here is how did life get into physical matter reality? What, the how and the why of that is
all right.
A concern to us.
It never left physical reality. We're dealing with ranges of perception. We're dealing with exercise in perception. It never left. I find myself taking a rather harsh tone there, as if I'm chastising somebody. I put that in there as a personal comment.
He's quoting as if he's kind of self-righteous about this. Do you get, what the hell, man? Do you guys keep seeing those brownout things? I hope the show doesn't go down. That's crazy. At least he's being honest. He's like, I'm getting agitated and I'm chastised. Like, I've never heard anybody talk to Robert Monroe like this before. Not on these tapes.
The problem there is in previous models, whether it be a Big Bang, whether it be theological, whether it be, say, for something like Edgar K.C., where they say there was consciousness and then there was movement within this consciousness. You are dealing with models. Each model pertains to a range of perception. Saying that consciousness was ever devoid of physical, biological life is as absurd as saying biological life has no spiritual essence. Do you get my point?
I do, but I can't tell whether what I'm...
Damn, I wish I could hear Robert Monroe.
Ken, or what I'm getting is information coming through Ken.
Both. This particular channel A, myself, has been trained in another range of perception. Therefore, the information will vary because this channel is presenting another model. And this goes back to saying you cannot separate that there will be bias in the physical channel. Because again, it pertains to cognitive, physical, emotional overlays.
Now, what happens to Ken's consciousness when Ken's body is disintegrated totally and no longer in its form?
Which range of perception would you like to explore?
Now this guy's got me. This guy's got me hooked.
Open question.
Okay, the response I get there is to talk to Ken about that after the session.
Oh, come on, man.
In terms of the model of reincarnation and the model of dissolution of energy. There's something else that needs to be dealt with here in this particular session. Let's go back to the Institute. Yes, affirmative. Let's deal with the Institute. As a viable measure, operative. Okay,
That's frustrating, man. He was about to get into some really deep stuff about the nature of perception and reality and consciousness, and then reincarnation. And he's like, "Nah, we'll talk about it afterwards, right?" And now they're going back. I don't know. Damn it! I wanted him to keep going on that one for sure. Maybe he'll reveal it later.
Ken talking. Here I get two splits. One we're talking about in terms of American society. One we're talking about in terms of global society. A continuous strain throughout this session has been, it determines where you want to look at it. At one, you ask whether it's Ken or whether it's other intelligence. You can't separate them. It's a misnomer to separate them, but at the same time, it's highly functional to separate them, just so that you know you're getting as clear as information as possible.
Okay, then about the Institute, can you focus on the question of what we can do in our use of the Institute to enhance our efforts to establish communication across the bridge, across the gap?
Does this pertain to the extraterrestrials?
Right.
You know it does. Robert Monroe loves talking to aliens.
Okay, I got a focus to me, but I wanted to censor that in that this is Ken talking. I didn't want to put myself in the picture. So in those terms, okay, good. Yeah, I'm glad I did that. You have several explorers here that have received sufficient training, whether it be through life circumstance or training from the Institute.
That's a good point, Mike. I wonder if they ever did that. Like if they put it wouldn't be much, right? To get someone to go in there with like a lie detector machine. I'm not saying that people are lying when they're experiencing this stuff, but at least, record the graphs and stuff, what happens to the body when they're speaking, right? That would be cool.
Okay. Take that information and see if you can't publish it. It doesn't matter whether the article or a book or a radio broadcast, and with radio I get the entire spectrum of radio broadcast, concerns itself solely with extraterrestrial intelligence. I get a quote around extraterrestrial because they are a part of us. We're just dealing with the range of perception. It doesn't matter whether the information concerns itself solely with extraterrestrial life, because in the physical they are on planet Earth now for that range of perception, category B, let's say, or whether there is only one paragraph or one sentence, even if it is just alluding to what an offhand remark say. Because the operative is that once the cognitive structure is corrected, and I don't mean corrected in terms of malfunction. Okay, better yet, once the cognitive structure is adjusted, the filters, the biological filters, three-dimensional filters in one's psyche or being or consciousness will be adjusted, thereby allowing for the flow of information which will be interpreted as extraterrestrial life.
That's so
Do you
trippy.
follow the point? Another question, please.
So we got just a few more minutes of this one that he's going to discuss. But guys, if you go back and listen to Whitley Strieber, you guys remember Communion? That was a big deal when Art Bell did his broadcast and Communion came out, and he was talking about that abduction experience, right? But then when he went to the Monroe Institute, he said, I'm pretty sure he said this to me on Lighting the Void too when I talked to him. He said, I think this whole ET experience abduction thing is a whole different thing that has something to do with that twilight state. And here this guy saying in 1984, May the 10th, 1984, that what we believe as aliens is something, it's not like what we think. It's some kind of perception gateway thing that's going on there. I got to listen to this one again when I sleep or something. Just some trippy stuff, man.
The Institute in relation to extraterrestrial life. Any question, please?
Well, I don't myself want to limit the
This session is for the Institute in relation to extraterrestrial life. A question, please.
Well, you said that your extraterrestrial life is not really extraterrestrial since it's already here. Why do you call it extraterrestrial life?
That pertains to one range of perception, a three-dimensional physical range of perception. Again, talk with Ken about that point after the session. Now, if we say we are already here, what we mean is that there is a confluence of energy. All energy is one, if you will. Now, when we say it is all one, we are responding to a certain model of consciousness. Therefore, there is no movement. Movement pertains to certain ranges, both within and without of the physical range of perception. Oneness engulfs all ranges of perception. However, to get lost in that model is fallacious. It's erroneous, because one, consult your Zen books, one is as equally fallacious as saying there are many. Consciousness is stratified, diversified, infinitely complex, beyond any mortal comprehension. When you say it is diversified, okay, give me a moment to relax.
Listen, when he said the concept of one is fallacious. Fallacious means a mistaken. What does it mean? Hold on, let me look that up just real quick. Fallacious means based on a mistaken belief. So these ETs are telling them that even this oneness idea that we have, everything is one. And that's why they're actually here and present. We just can't perceive them. But our ideas of this oneness is also fallacious based on a mistaken belief.
It's interesting because when I was picking up that relax information, I was picking it up from the perspective of give Ken a moment to relax. As I started to relax, I shifted towards a perspective of Ken. Okay, that can be used as an example. First, when you say consciousness is stratified or diversified, one component of that is physical perception. Hence, you will perceive this energy as extraterrestrial life, quite often in forms of flying saucers, because to our perception, given our current levels of technology, that would seem to be the most aerodynamic form. So from the range of a three-dimensional perspective, okay, this is Ken speaking. I find me getting too much involved in this information. Give me a couple seconds here. Okay, this is good. Before we go on, just as Ken spoke that the information was coming outside of him, referring that we suggested he relax, he shifts his range of perception. And he knows it is, quote, him speaking. This energy is one energy.
Okay, well, we're coming closer to nearing the end of the session. Since there are times here when I'm talking to Ken.
It's perplexing, but it's damn cool.
Can you identify for me who I'm talking to when I'm not talking to Ken?
You are talking to one focus of energy from a three-dimensional perspective. Correction. From a perspective of consciousness, relates to what Bob Monroe refers to as other energy systems. The intelligence of this other energy system, when it is in confluence with, quote, your, unquote, physical dimension, may at times be perceived as extraterrestrial life. Do you follow this point?
I think so.
Okay, this session may end now. If you choose, you may have one more on this subject.
Dude, I would stop it right there.
This is highly recommended, although it is so
This is so fucking trivial. The hairs on my arms.
It's not. It is of no great loss to us if you choose not to have it.
I think we will save our explorations for future sessions and try to digest this one and relate to it. Okay.
As you wish.
Okay. Now I'm talking to Ken, who I want Ken to bring himself.
Okay.
Point one.
C1. Okay, that's very functional for me to say C1.
C1, yes. Let's
okay.
Put yourself down there and tell me when you feel you're there.
Okay. I even have a vision of C1. It's in blue light, which in terms of Castaneda's material is an omen, signifying the positive value of using it in terms of speaking it and visualizing it. Okay, as I get back in touch with my body, I feel a qualitative shift. Very constraining, as if, what fun is it being in a physical body? And yet I don't mean to put that in a negative sense, because that's just the way it is. It's if Okay. As this if my consciousness came back into my blood, whereas before it weren't. I still... Do you have any music?
Oh my God, this guy is freaking me out a little bit. It's cool, but it's also kind of freaky, right? So...
Because I remember they're saying this energy...
We're not going to be able to hear this, so like, I'm going to... damn it. I'm going to try to enhance the audio on this, and maybe we can listen to it again later so we can hear Robert Monroe. And then he has a recap of all of that stuff. But to me, like, what this guy was doing was actually channeling, right? Like, he was in an altered state of consciousness for sure. But then towards the end, he started losing it, right? Like his mind, almost like he gave into megalomania. This happens too when people reach certain states of consciousness, or even people that like have acid trips for a while, ketamine trips, things like that. They get so much information that when they get down back to earth, it's almost like they don't belong here. It's kind of like they lose it psychologically, so to speak. And he was like laughing hysterically at the end. He's giving them all this important information about what ETs are, and then just started laughing like crazy. And then it's like, we don't care if you receive the information or not. And Robert Monroe, you could barely hear him, but he's trying to nail down what this guy is talking to them. This is pretty trippy, actually. This is one I'm going to save. Yeah, right. So I'm glad Monroe wasn't Hannibal Lecter, right? So PK says, I agree. What's the rush back to the one if you're your own ideology that we're all, like we just choose to separate. Yeah. So he probably did get into this oneness, and he's like everything. And I've heard about this when people get on ketamine and stuff too. So everything that your ideas about oneness and dimensions and consciousness, it's all fallacious. It's all based on a mistaken belief. And then he started giggling. To him, it was probably a giggle in a good way, like none of this really matters or whatever. But to us and like Monroe, it's almost like, yeah, so now what, right? But anyways, I'm going to save this one and do something with it. I got to enhance the audio that when Monroe, so you can hear his questions, and then like this part right here. You can't really hear it.
Extraterrestrial life in relation to the Institute. Mm-hmm. And that's why I want to verify that, to see if all the information that, came out of my mouth, because I know a lot of it was intertwined, like we started talking about the null point and channels and stuff.
You can't really hear it.
When I was doing that, it was from the perspective of this energy.
So now, but he's kind of saying, no, that wasn't me. That was the other thing speaking, right? Holy shit. All right. So if you guys want to chat in the Discord, I'll be in the brand new Discord. Looks like 5 or 6 more people joined too. Or the brand new Discord, the room in there that's called After Show Chat. And if you can't get in and you're a patron or you've supported the show, just DM me in Discord and I'll get you in there. But I'm just going to hang out for a little while in there after each show just to see what you guys think. Because a lot of people don't want to call during the show, and I get that. So Jane came up with a pretty good idea. You don't have to, but I'll be in there. All right. And maybe we can... This guy that just did this channeling has a whole bunch more audios too, so I'm kind of stoked about that. All right. See whoever's going to show up in there in the after Discord thing, and we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Good night. Love you. Sweet dreams.